Welcome back to another episode. And today I want to talk to you about AI, the artificial intelligence. I know so many people are on this thing, and even myself, I use this tool that is very helpful. But one of the things that I discovered on this is that sometimes we rely too much on this tool because at the end of the day, it's a tool. Um, Many of us we use this tool for business. Some of us we use it as a therapist, as a friend, as something to put together for marketing, for so many things. Now the amount of people that uses Google is less because ChatGPT is the new Google, is the new way of life, the new way of doing things. Even if people want to send a message, write a letter to somebody, they use ChatGPT. I was talking with my daughter, and she was saying, Mom, now the teachers have to review every work that we do because they said they want to make sure it was not done by ChatGPT. And I'm surprised with my children, knowing them how they are. They refuse to use ChatGPT. I have tried. I tell them, I'm like, look, if you don't know this, ask ChatGPT. They don't know the answer. And my daughter will even get upset and say, Mom, do you know that that thing is actually damaging people? You know that? Do you know how much power that thing needs to be able to work? And she was talking about how much water and all these other things that ChatGPT or the whole modality of this, the engine it needs. And she was explaining so many things. Some of the stuff I did not even understand what she was saying. So I asked my son, I said, you should use ChatGPT. And same thing. It's like, do you know how much water this thing uses? He went on onto this whole theory of what is ChatGPT is doing and it's actually damaging people and all of this stuff. So I told my husband, I said, I'm surprised that my kids don't want to use this thing because normally they're like the first ones to get into this new trending stuff. But here lately, they have said, no, that thing is actually damaging people. And I asked my daughter, I said, what is really the reason why you don't want to use it? And she said, because when you use ChatGPT, you get addicted. It's like social media. You would never want to find the answer for yourself or try something and make a mistake. You're always relying on something else to tell you what to do or how to do it. And I believe that you should be able to make those steps or take those steps. And if you make a mistake, then you learn from that. But when you do this thing of ChatGPT all the time or these other intelligent things that people use, then you're not giving yourself the space to truly be yourself. And that's why I don't like it. I'd rather make my own mistakes and learn from that and knowing that I tried something, that it was something that it came from me. And so I was like, oh, okay. And I use it for my business sometimes, not everything, because I can tell you, as I've been using it, sometimes ChatGPT can give you this false identity or tell you that you are completely right, that is nothing wrong with you, because whatever you give to this thing is kind of like a pacifier. It gives you back what you want to hear. It doesn't want to push back unless you say it to this tool that you want a little pushback and you wanted to know why this could be wrong or why this could be right. But if you don't do that, then it's always telling you you're right. People destroy you, people treat you this way, you should react this other way. And so it's training people according to what they want to hear, not what the real world is or the reality. And so I started to use it for things like medical stuff. And it was giving me so much information about it. What should I eat? What should I do? And all these things. And out of nowhere, like really out of nowhere, I start putting in like, hey, I read the Bible and this is what it was saying. And this is what I think. This is how I understand this part of the Bible. Out of nowhere, it just started saying, you need to stop being too spiritual and you need to take action in your business. And I was like, what? Take action in your business because you're spiritualizing everything. For you, everything is God, but you have a business to run and you need to worry about more about your business, the strategies, how many clients you want to have this month, how many things you are not doing. And I can give you a list of all the things that you're focused on, and that's the reason why you're not growing, why your business is still the same way. And I told my husband, I said, wow, it went from telling me that it was okay, everything I was doing, to now pushing back and telling me that I'm not doing anything. So I started going with whatever it was suggesting, and it was saying that I needed to stop recording videos. I needed to stop helping my husband, and I needed to focus more on my cleaning business, and I needed to do more marketing for that and be a little bit more aggressive. And I was like, wow, that much change? And it gave me all the 60 to a 90-day work through that process. And this is how you're going to do it. And I expect you that in 3 months you have all of this done. And this is how much you're going to accomplish. And after you do that, you got to move to the next step to continue to expand. And it was giving me all these things to the point that I start second guessing myself. I closed that thing and I remember sitting there and I was like, wow, maybe I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Maybe that's what I need to do because it was telling me all the details. And so I came to my husband and I said, I think I'm doing things wrong. I think I need to focus. And he's like, where do you get that idea? I said, well, I have a list of things that I need to do and that I wasn't doing. And so I think I need to do a better job. And he said, okay, stop. I think the old you is coming back because now you're going back to hustle and grind. You're getting back into, I need to do more. I need to push harder. And then that's what you're working on, to surrender, to let go, just to feel life, to work. That doesn't mean you're not going to work, but to not try to control everything. And now you're telling me I need to control. Where that idea came from? And he looked at me and he started laughing. He said, I know where it came from. ChatGPT. And I said, how do you know? He said, because I know you. I don't know what do you tell that thing, but that is not true. It's not true that you're scattered. It's not true that you have not structure. It's not true, none of those things. That you need to do more work in advertising, probably, but not the way that it's telling you to do it. because you already doing it. So I don't know what was happening in that conversation for that thing to give you that information. And as he was talking to me and I started walking through the process that I've been working previously when I started working on myself, I realized I was looking again for hustle and grind. Again. And I was like, oh my gosh. He's like, you learning to sit still. And because you're learning that sitting still for you feels like chaos, like fear that something is going to happen. And one of the things that my husband always says, you're afraid and waiting for when is the shoe is going to drop. And I said, yes, yes, that's how I feel. He said, well, that's why this thing is giving you more to do, because the information that you're feeding into is going to give you things that it kind of makes you feel better, makes you feel safe, make you feel comfortable with things that you used to do. So that's what it's doing. It's taking you back to what you're used to it. And because you know that, you are familiar with these things, for you, it feels right. It feels this is the right thing that I gotta do. So that's why you're like, oh, okay, I gotta do more of this, more of that, because that's something that you used to do. But it's taking you back to where you were. And I was like, you're right. This thing is taking me back because it knows so much about me that it, even for this thing is like weird that you're not doing this and you're not doing that, when before you used to use this tool for business so much, and now out of nowhere you kind of slow it down. So what's happening? So this tool is like, hey, you need to get back on track. You're spending too much time reading the Bible. You're spending too much time having time with your family, with your kids, doing other things. You need to get back on track. In doing that, it showed me how dangerous it is to use this tool and not really stop in realizing what is your thoughts and what is the information this tool is giving you. Is it really you, or is just your pain coming back in a different way? And a more sophisticated way with more structure, with the new mask. And when you just react to it, you can go back to that habit. You can fall into the hole that you try for years to get out, fall back in, because now it looks different. It looks like discipline. It looks like structure. It looks like change. It looks like you're going up the ladder, when really you're going down. You're going down, and because you're so used to reacting, you don't question what this thing is telling you. You're not questioning, why is this thing reminding me, or why now it's coming back with this information, when before it was okay. Before we were fine. But now that I'm not using that a lot, it's like reminding me that I need to start going back to who I was. So as I have this conversation with my husband, I said, oh my gosh, this thing is dangerous. It's dangerous because it can quickly make you feel like you're behind. It can quickly change your attitude. It can quickly push the button that it needs to be pushed for you to react, for you to go back to who you were. And if you're not careful, you can stay stuck there forever, because now you rely into this tool instead of your own wisdom, your own emotions, your own feelings. Is it really true what it's saying? Is it really true that if I do A, B, C, and D, that is the result? And when we don't question that, we keep living into reaction mode. We're not making decisions from awareness. We're making decisions based upon what we feel at the moment. And those decisions are dangerous, very, very dangerous, because they will have consequences that they're very, very painful. So I wanted to share this with you because I think we can use these tools, but at the same time, we need to use our own knowledge, our own mind, our own understanding, our own experience in life, not to rely completely on a tool. Because at the end of the day, that's what it is, a tool. It's not us. We live life differently. This thing doesn't have life. It doesn't feel, it doesn't have emotions. We're humans. We have emotions. We perceive life differently. So we have to take that information, that knowledge, that wisdom, and put it into things that we're building, that we want, that we desire, not just completely rely onto a tool to build something that we want. Because if we do that, whatever we're building, it will be no emotions, no connection, just another tool. And as I was thinking about it, I was like, I don't want to build just tools. I want to build a deeper connection with the creator and a deeper connection with the people around me. I don't want just something that it tells you what to do or how to do it or how many months it's going to take you for you to build what you want. I want to be able to enjoy the journey. I want to be able to feel the peace. I want to be able to do what I want, what my heart desires, not just continue to do homework after homework after homework. And then you get to the top and you're like, really? That's it? And then you start another project again because you wanted to feel something. But the problem is not the project, that you need to do another project or you need to stop using ChatGPT or continue to use it. Or we depend completely on a tool. Instead of using the tool is using us. I have heard many people who are doing mentorship that they go into ChatGPT and they say, look at this thing. This is so powerful. Or this is amazing. And it's ChatGPT. And I was like, really? You're a professional. You should know this better. Like, in some of those people, they even said, I know this is not a real person, but it sounded like the person who said it, and it said it even better. Because it's things in YouTube about books, about podcasts of people who died years ago. And according to YouTube, that's them speaking, that's them teaching. But if you really look at it, it's AI. It's not the person. But many mentors said, I know that's not real. I know that's AI, but it sounds better than the original. And I'm like, how can that be more powerful than the original person who said it, who wrote about this thing? How can that be more powerful? Because they say it more structured, more polished. For me, I think it's more powerful to hear from a real person because it's got a real experience. I don't need it to be so polished, so structured. I need the truth. I need the reality. I need to hear that it was pain. I need to hear all these things that humans we encounter in life. I don't need just something to be so polished, so perfect with no mistakes, because that's not the truth. That's not reality, because we live in a world that is broken. We live in a world that has mistakes, that it has pain, that nothing is perfect. As humans, we are not perfect. So, how can I keep searching for something that is perfect? When we're doing that, we're actually continuing to build more pain in ourselves, because now we want to strike for perfection. We want things to be perfect. And because of that, we pull ourselves so thin, because we want to achieve perfection. Because AI does everything perfect. No errors. There's no room for that. But we have to remember we are humans. And that's the beauty of humans. That is in art. You see it in people who paint canvas. They do things that they look like it's just paint everywhere. But that's the beauty of life. That not everything is perfect. That's the beauty of nature. That's where all the things that they're so valuable lie on. And when we try to run away from that, then how we can achieve beauty? Everything is perfect. It doesn't need anything. And perfection sometimes can be boring and can be painful. So instead of trying to achieve perfection in life, perfection in business, trying to do everything so structured, so polished, keep going, keep moving, keep climbing the ladder, let's take time for ourselves to enjoy the imperfection, to enjoy what is not structured yet, and to start to use our imagination on how we wanted to structure, how do we want it to see beauty, because that's how we can polish things and we can put into manifestation our own beauty. The beauty that it lives in our head, we can manifest it in real life through the imperfection that we see. And we can constantly be changing. We don't have to be perfect. We don't have to constantly pushing ourselves for perfection, because we know that we are imperfect. We're in a world that is imperfect, but it's great, because that gives us the dreams, the desires, and what do we want in life, how we will change those things. How do we see or imagine beauty in our head and put it back into reality? That's what makes us so great as humans. That's what makes life keep going, keep moving, and enjoying every step we take, every walk, every road that we take. It makes us enjoy it. Instead of trying that everything needs to be polished, that everything needs to be very aligned and very perfect. Social media sometimes says you have to use AI and you create this many videos in whatever, 5 seconds, 20 seconds. This other person say I use AI and it gets me this many sales. And I use AI and it writes an essay. I use AI and this is how many things I accomplish. And we're all in this racing game. And we continue to fall in more and more stress, because the problem is not AI. The problem is that we want to use our brain less and less and less, do less and less work. But when God created the world, He gave Adam that power to be in charge of everything as a human, not the things be in charge of him, but him being in charge of creation. And right now, we let an AI be in charge of us. Social media be in charge of us. Instead of us using AI, using social media, it's the other way around. And that's why we have high stress levels. We see more depression, more anxiety, more people competing with each other, more jealousy, more anger. People don't have the patience anymore because they're constantly being used by these tools instead of them using the tools. So if you want to slow down and really build something that it comes from you, that at the end comes from the creator, that his blessing came to you as the vessel to be manifested into the world and show who God is through what you do and how you do it, take time for yourself. Really question this tool when it gives you certain answers. And instead of constantly using this tool, get a notepad, get a piece of pen and paper, and start writing your own thoughts. Put them on the piece of paper, your dreams, your desire. How do you see it? Start using that muscle of your brain of visualization, of imagination. Remember when you were a child, start really communicating with the creator, and you will see how many connections you will start to build deeply, and you will feel different. You will feel more connected to the creator, more connected to other people. And I'm not saying don't use AI. Use it. It's a powerful tool, but use it like that. Like it's a tool. First, work with yourself. Work on your thoughts. Work on your desires. Work on how you imagine these things that you want. And if you want to refine it, yeah, you can use AI. But whatever AI gives you, that is not a definite thing that you have to put onto whatever you're doing. You can take some things out, you can tweak it, you can change things, or you can just completely use what you have already. Sometimes AI gives you silly information that it doesn't even reflect really what you're trying to say or what you're trying to put out there. I have used this tool for my business, and sometimes I don't use nothing that it's giving me because it doesn't connect to what I'm thinking about doing it. And so we have to be careful. Not everything that it looks great, it's really helping you to grow. Sometimes it's a barrier for you to stay on the same level. Yellow diamonds in the